And we're live.
In the words of OG Anunoby, this is the beginning. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in onto the point with
Skip
and the King. You guys go down there, click subscribe, click like. Today we have one of our favorite reoccurring guests, Robert Misovic. His words, you want to find him, Google him. We have, for you critics out there that said he should never return to our show because he's a pot stirrer, we have the mouth of the North from the Reece Report, Mr. Andrew Reece. How are you guys doing today?
Good. I'm on fire.
All right. So, guys, let's get right into this because we got a lot to say, like we have been saying recently over the last couple days. So, as of September 28th, I believe, for the Raptors Media Day, Bobby Webster said, he made this quote when it came to OG Anunoby. They asked him about what they want from him. He said, we just want him to continue to expand offensive stuff, but keep defensive at an all NBA level. He'll get also a lot of chance here early with Pascal Siakam being out for a little while. So, Robert, do you think in this time span and based over the season, what can OG Anunoby do for your Toronto Raptors?
What can he do? What can't he do? Honestly, it's a better question of what can't he do, because he can do a lot, right? I think,
Okay.
I mean, we're talking about a rookie who guarded LeBron James against, in the playoffs, high stakes, and didn't back down. That was him as a rookie coming off an ACL tear, right? I think OG has been held back by the system, by, aggressive offensive players. I think he's kind of a take it as it comes type of personality. He's not really like chasing shots. He doesn't force anything. I could maybe look back on the last year and think 10 shots he took that he shouldn't have taken. He's always within the offense. I think the goal here now is what we saw at the end of last year, which is him actually hunting opportunities. I've seen too many times where Fred or Pascal will see OG against the point guard in the post and they'll flag him off. Last year was the first time that I saw him demand it. And he's being empowered by the system right now to be, seen as one of the guys. He's now, 24. He's approaching, his prime. And I think, on the one hand, Andrew and I were talking about this before about his three-point shooting and his efficiency offensively, right? And as we've seen the uptick in his shots going up over the years, he adds a little bit more, a little bit off the bounce. One thing we haven't seen is a dip in efficiency, ever. He's always efficient, right? He has some years, yes, 36%, 37%, but it's never a tail off. He doesn't do what Pascal did or Gary Trent did or whatever, So I think this year with Pascal out, you could see him emerge as a solid 22, 23 point per game guy. He'll keep the defense up because that's just hardwired into his DNA. What I'm noticing now is that a lot of people are hugging him at the line because he's not usually the type to force a drive. He doesn't exploit that. But a few times last year, we did see that he would do that, and he's very capable. So I want to end this by saying that a lot of Raptor fans, they see OG as a role player, right? They see him as a guy who doesn't look like Jason Tatum. He doesn't play like Kobe. He doesn't do that flashy, ballerina stuff. He's just very one way, right? And to those people, I would say, Rafer Alston was not an all-star, right? You don't have to have hot sauce handles. You don't have to be that way. Some guys are just different. Kawhi is different. Kawhi doesn't play like Jordan. He's Jordan-esque in his efficiency and his movement, but he doesn't do some of the stuff. He's a little bit more ground bound. He's methodical. He's a little bit robotic, but it works and it's efficient. I see OG. I don't want to say OG is Kawhi, because he's not. But I see him having, a similar sort of trajectory and maybe even a similar upside, maybe 90% of that upside offensively and defensively as well, without all the health issues, in a slightly bigger frame, right? With a little bit more of that defensive versatility, because he legitimately can guard, 1 through 5. So I think a lot of people see him as a role player because they don't see that sort of the highlight, I made a highlight package of him. It was hard to find anything more than a dunk, He doesn't do the ooh, stuff. But you blink and you realize, oh my God, this guy's 24 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and he hasn't taken a bad shot all night. And I would want to build around a player like that as my primary option offensively. And I'm sort of hoping that when Pascal comes back, that Nick Nurse and, Masai and these guys, they can see it, that this isn't a clear pecking order offensively. It's not clear to me, at least from watching these guys play over the last 3 years, that OG is definitely lower than Pascal as an offensive talent. It may seem that way when you say, well, one guy averaged 16 and the other guy averaged 22. But again, when it counts in the playoffs, who can you stop? I don't know how you stop OG from doing what he does. Offensively, he's too good a shooter. He's too strong. I don't know how you can stop this guy one-on-one. How can you stop him? What can you do to him? I mean, people say, well, he can't really pass. Yes, he can. He's an underrated passer. He's an underrated post player who doesn't take a lot of opportunities there. He's a very good shooter. He's an effective dribbler. He's not hot sauce, but he's effective at getting past his man. And he's got incredible basketball IQ. So you put all that together, that's a very solid 1A, 1B type option. So I'm really hoping the Raptors embrace that. I hope early on in the season we get a chance to see that too.
There's one aspect I wanted to ask you about that. What about his defense? Do you think he could be possibly a defensive player of the year?
No, I don't. I don't think he's a defensive player of the year, largely because it's very rare for wings to get that award. It typically goes to big men. I would very much be it's not that he's not that good, but the question is, can he win the award? Which means, can he secure the votes to win that award, right? OG is a disruptor on defense. I think within this system now with Barnes, Pascal, Fred VanVleet, who in my opinion is one of the most underrated defenders in the NBA, Precious Achiuwa, you're talking about OG having, I don't know who's going to have that rover responsibility on defense, but whoever is going to pick up like 3 steals a game. Like that guy who's going to be the help, you're helping an elite defender. You know what I mean? It's incredible the potential this team has defensively, and you can see Nick Nurse's twinkle in his eye when he thinks about the potential of this team defensively, and he's right to be excited. Everyone's right to be excited about this team, and this is one of those teams where if the floor is 37 wins, the ceiling might be 50, just based on the defense. The defense is incredible, and I think one of the quotes from Media Day was, "We want to be the type of team that nobody wants to play against."
Yep.
I don't think you don't even have to play a single game. I would not want to play against this team. If I'm an opposing team, whether you're the Lakers or the Suns, who wants to play against a team like this, where OG Anunoby might be the help defender on a guy that Scotty Barnes is guarding or Precious Achiuwa is guarding? It's incredible. So, will he win yeah, you know what? I'll change my opinion midway through that thought. Yes, he could, because he may be seen as the best defender on the league's best defense, but it will be harder because he's not a big blocks guy. He's not a big steals guy. He's more of I'm going to force you to take a shot you're not comfortable with guy and shoot like 20% below what you're used to shooting. And that doesn't usually translate to, oh, this guy averaged 4 blocks a game. You know what I mean? Because those guys typically aren't very good defenders. In my opinion, Rudy Gobert is the exception to the rule. Someone like Miles Turner is not a great defender, but he averages 3.7 blocks a game, right? Yeah.
Well, as a coach, I agree with disrupting shots. And I love defense. But Andrew, thank you, Robert. Andrew, I got to ask you, based on what Robert said, what do you think OG Anunoby could do offensively for the Raptors? Do you think he could lead them in scoring? Do you think he could be? Yeah. Do you think he could be the one taking the shots? Do you think he can hit? He could be that solid?
So I've been on your show a few times talking about the Raptors, and I've been saying this for a year, and Skip can attest to this. I've been begging Nick Nurse to give OG the ability to be the offensive leader. It took the trading of Norman Powell to happen, but when it did happen, we saw his usage rate go from 17% to 22%, and for about a 2-week period, this guy took over the offense and averaged 24 a game, and it did not hurt the Raptors in the least. We still got his defense, and he was to me, the only thing we're missing from him is a mid-range jump shot and free throw shooting. Everything else, I think he has. Okay, he maybe doesn't have the greatest handles. That's also improving. His inside game, he can bully anyone off in that position inside. He's got a great post game. So if he can develop a short mid-range jumper so he doesn't take too many charges and improves from the free throw line, the sky's the limit. It's a matter of whether Nick Nurse, and I said this last year, if Nick Nurse will allow him the usage amounts to develop his game into becoming the leader for the Raptors offensively. That to me, that's what it is. And this first month to me is the biggest month of his career because there's no one else. He's going to be the guy getting the ball. And if he produces in that time, it not only helps the Raptors, but helps Pascal Siakam when he comes back, not having all that pressure on him to have to run the offense and score 30 a game when you got OG over there playing bully ball and knocking people off the spot. So I've said it for 2 years. OG's development will determine the Raptors' success this season. If he becomes the most improved player in the league or close to it, like Robert said, they could be a surprise 50-win team. If not, and it's a jumbled mess, and they're just a defensive juggernaut, then they're going to be on the lower end of wins. They're going to be great defensively. The question is, can they rebound enough, and can they get enough offense from this squad to get to a surprise win total? That's the question. OG's more than capable. I've been saying this for a while now. He's a 40% three-point shooter. And he can bully anyone inside. I don't know if people understand how big this guy's body is, but I would not want to be bumping bodies with this guy in the post or inside. So if he can drive and stop on a dime and shoot that jumper like Kawhi, then Kawhi's the ceiling. If not, just a little bit below Kawhi and a guy who can be efficient offensively and can absolutely lead the Raptors in scoring. And I think this is the year he does it. So I think the sky's the limit for him. Can he win Defensive Player of the Year? I'm going to say no for 2 reasons. One, we typically don't get votes on these awards. It's just, because when you're on ESPN, you're going to see the Greek Freak. So if the Greek Freak's out there getting 3 blocks a game, he's probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year, or Gobert in Utah, just because they're on the highlight reels and OG's not going to be. That's just the way it works. It's unfortunate, but can he be our Defensive Player of the Year? Yes. And that's all that really matters at the end of the day. So Nick Nurse, please give the ball to OG and get the hell out of the way. And when Siakam comes back, don't forget about OG and we'll be fine.
Yeah, you did mention about OG hitting the ceiling on a recent episode that we've all done. Is OG the next Kawhi Leonard? Great comparison there. Thank you for your insight, Andrew. Skip, based on what even Robert mentioned it, and Andrew kind of alluded to it, do you think OG can be that good, or is he a role player for your Toronto Raptors?
Well, I think right now role player is a bit understating a bit, but he's more of a superstar role player than a star player. So I just want to pump the brakes a little bit. I'm as high on as anyone, I think, on OG. I really like his game. I really think he can help this team become the next best iteration of themselves down the road a few years. But there are some issues I see in his game that I think will maybe hold him back from being this guy that we're sort of projecting. So my number one concern is his free throw shooting. His free throw shooting overall for his career is 69% free throw shooter. And we talk all about his efficiency from 2, from 3. And I just kind of think I'm a little nervous not because I think 69% is bad enough that it's really going to handicap him as a player. I'm just worried about how it reflects on his actual shooting ability, pure shooting ability. If he can really sustain that efficiency at a high level for a long time. Now, I think maybe what's happening is that his free throw shooting is catching up to his other shooting. So maybe it is working out in his favor. But for a while there, I was really nervous that free throw shooting was sort of a sign that he was going to regress in terms of his 3-point shot, his 2-point shot, more as threes, because those are more comparable to free throws. So that's one concern I have. The other concern I have is just ball handling. I think if you want him to be this guy, he's going to have to be able to dribble inside, to dribble in traffic, and I'm not totally sure he has those skills yet. I think he's best when he's getting kicked out to, when he's on a fast break, something like that. Those are where he's getting his shots right now, and I think it's going to be tough for him to. I think even last year we saw, as he was sort of scaling up a little bit, we were watching that, and you'd see him sort of 1 or 2 times a game they'd go to him, and he'd maybe get a step through on a guy and be like, hey, he's got moves inside. And then they go back to it, and the other team would adjust and start to defend him a little better, and he'd either turn the ball over or have to kick it out. So that's going to be a big step if he wants to become a star. And that kind of ties into my third point, which is his usage rate. Can he scale up and still be this kind of high efficiency player? So I was looking at his numbers on cleaning the glass. Last year, he was in the 89th percentile in effective field goal percentage, and he was in the 89th percentile at effective field goal percentage against. So you think about what that means on a one-on-one game. That means that he's in the top 10% in the league in scoring per shot, and the top 10% in the league at preventing the other guy from scoring per shot. So if you're playing one-on-one, that's amazing. You basically win every game with those numbers. But it's a little bit more complicated when you're playing 5-on-5 and everything's getting passed around. Can you sustain that at a high level? Can he take more shots? You were talking about his mid-range game, Andrew. If he develops that mid-range shot, mid-range is one of the least efficient shots in the league. So if he develops a mid-range shot, that's going to bring down his percentages. If he starts taking shots in the half court in general, he's great at dunking inside in fast break. Yes, obviously he can do that. That's a high percentage shot though. So if he's taking another 10 shots a game, where are those shots coming from? Those are going to be tougher shots. Those are going to be defended shots. That's going to bring down his percentages. And on the defensive side of the ball, is he going to be able to sustain that high level of shot contest if he's doing a lot more on the offensive side? So those are a few of the concerns I have. I still think he's a very good player. Even as a Royal player, he was his box plus minus last year was 1.0, which is pretty good. I mean, it's not a flashy number, but it means that he's above average. He's helping his team out there, but it's not like an all-star level type of player. And the question is, can he keep all his strengths in line while scaling all that stuff up? And that's going to be the big key. That's what we have to find out this year.
So for me, just to go off of that, for me, it's not really about mid-range. It's about they're going to chase him off the 3-point line. The question is, can he give you a little floater? Not necessarily a jump shot. He's a tall man. He's going to give you a floater maybe, okay?
Yeah, my point is that's a contested shot, though. That's still a contested shot.
Right, but he has to have that so that he doesn't draw charges, so that he doesn't get charging calls after being run off the 3-point line. That was my main concern. He doesn't have to take it a bunch of times. And I think if he's in the post more often, that he'll take higher percentage shots and maybe take less threes. So there's a lot he can do that's not necessarily mid-range. This guy can be an inside menace and an outside threat all day long. And we'll get into that. He's better than Siakam.
We'll get into that very shortly.
Yeah.
We'll get into that very shortly. Guys, I got to tell you what I think about OG. And honestly, what I think about him is I think this year can be his breakout season. I'm not saying hit or miss for him. I'm saying he has the potential this year to have a breakthrough season. Like, look at what he started from in his short journey in his NBA career with the Toronto Raptors. His first start, he did get 16 points in 30 minutes, which is pretty good. That same year, he did hit his first buzzer beater for a game winner against LeBron-led Cavs, which is pretty damn good. You know, he could have, people do bring up, which we did cover before, about in the finals, Golden State against the Raptors. Remember, he just had an appendectomy. He was on the bench, but he didn't play. So when they talk about health for the Golden State against Toronto, what if he was healthy? He could have done a lot defensively and gotten in there and gotten in their head, maybe even guarded KD, because like Robert mentioned earlier, that he was guarding LeBron James at that age and he was going after him and he didn't care. The one thing I really do like, you guys love the analytics and love the numbers, but when it comes to the opposing team's offensive rating, when he is on the floor, when he's not on the floor, they're a plus 4.6. When he's on the floor, they're a minus 4.6. So he can actually, like Skip, you said about the one-on-one, you're going to win all the time. He does have a lot of upside. I do see a lot in him, especially him having the cojones last year to take that, no, not last year, the year before, against Boston in the playoffs in the bubble in game 4, I believe it was,
Game
when he hit
3.
the buzzer beater.
That was a shot, by the
It
way.
was game 3.
He wasn't going to take that shot.
He,
You know that, right?
no. I know, but if he didn't take that
It was a
shot, the
play.
Raps would have lost earlier.
No. I'm saying that wasn't his shot to take. That play was not designed for him. You know that?
Yeah, but he got
That
the ball
play,
and he hit it.
right? That makes
So
it
I
even
can tip
more
my hat
impressive.
to him on that one.
That makes it even more
Yeah,
impressive.
that is very impressive. Yeah, it wasn't his. He knew his role and he did what he did. Honestly, to think about it, like, I can actually see him being a fringe all-star this year if more people take notice, especially now that he has the time for at least the next month with Pascal being out and him having to fill in the role with OG, because like they said, and by the way, guys, it was not the 28th, it was the 27th for the presser, okay, for media day. My bad, I messed that up earlier. Pascal did mention that now when they sit in the office, it's him, Freddie, and OG. A lot of people spoke very highly on OG, but being considered a veteran, even though he's young, for this team. And I think he's going to take that upon himself because he's a very stoic, quiet kind of guy, kind of like how Robert is over there. You know what I mean? But when they do something, it's profound. It's something great, and it's something you got to respect. And honestly, I think this year he can be an all-star. And by the way, Robert, speaking of, you mentioned earlier your mixtape on OG. That's why I said in the beginning, because that was a quote you used for your video, and I thought it was amazing. By the way, good job. I tip my hat to you. So, guys, now, like Reece, what you were just going off on,
Yeah.
with OG being put in the mix,
Yeah.
can you give us a little bit more insight on what you were saying
So-
there, please?
And I'm gonna ask Robert to try to back me up on this. I'm not trying to tag team on you, Skip, here, but if you look at every single category other than free throw shooting,
These are my skip notes.
right.
I'm gonna
Okay,
phone you
so-
so hard when I get to talk.
Okay,
Just watch.
so Robert, I'll try to save some for you, Robert. But if you look at every single statistical category other than free throw shooting, OG was better than Pascal Siakam last year. Every single category except free throw shooting. If he's used more, I don't see it how that's a negative to the Raptors. And it's probably better for Siakam, as you can tell. He was a much better second option when Kawhi was here. Free throw, so 3-point shooting, 2-point shooting. Defensively, he was better. Inside, he was better. Siakam, yeah, he can handle the ball, but I've seen that spin move a million times, and the NBA's caught up to it. Okay? He gets a lot of charges. So if we're allowing Pascal Siakam to take 17 shots a game and fail, he's allowed to fail driving the ball and getting charges and missing crazy wild shots and shoot 29% from the 3-point line. then why aren't we allowing OG to do the same thing with more efficiency? I don't see how that hurts the Raptors at all. And I think it makes OG a better player if he's used more. I'm going to save the rest for Robert because I know he's got a lot. But to me, when he was used more last year, he was a better player than Pascal. He averaged more points. He averaged more rebounds, more assists. He was still good defensively. And that was with his usage rates going up after the Norman Powell trade. Nick Nurse, use him more. Robert.
All right.
Robert, please preach.
All right. So we got the first thing was turnovers, right? Skip, you mentioned turnovers.
I'm ready for this.
Right. So his turnover percentage hasn't gone up pretty much since his rookie year, even though his usage rate has gone up from 10% to 18%. Typically, turnovers go up with usage. So I think it's pretty spectacular that his turnover percentage has gone from like 10.5 to 11.7, and his usage rate has gone up like almost double, right? So that's the first thing that I would like to mention. The second thing about mid-range being the most inefficient shot in the NBA. Personally, I very much disagree. The reason I disagree with that is because having a mid-range shot completely unlocks every other part of your game.
Correct. Yeah.
Yep.
Like there are those guys like, you know, players like J.R. Smith, Nick Young, like these guys. They pretty much take threes from the corner, ill-advised threes from the top, or they're taking Hail Marys at the rim, where they're usually very ineffective. These types of players are kind of easy to stop because you're only playing them for one of two places, right? Where OG has potential is he can kind of score. I want to backtrack a bit here. The Boston series where Boston stopped Pascal, who did they use to stop him? Jaylen Brown, right? Now, Jaylen Brown is 6'5.5" on a good day. Pascal Siakam is quote unquote 6'9", according to him, 6'10". So
6'9.5".
According to him, yesterday he said he might be 6'10", and Aaron Rose said he might be the tallest player on the team. So I asked you the question, how is a 6'5.5", 6'6" guard able to stop a 6'10" forward who is an all-star? Easy. Strength. That's it. Pascal Siakam does not have OG's physical attributes, his gifts. He's an easier player to neutralize one-on-one. You can pretty much find one player on almost every decent team in the league. Go down the list. Kawhi can guard him. Paul George could guard him, right? Anthony Davis could guard him. LeBron could guard him. Like, I'm just going to the two LA teams. They each have two players who can guard him. Probably Marcus Morris or Markieff Morris, whichever one is on which team, can guard him too. It's an easier player to stop if he's your primary option. OG has what I call, like, he's unguardable one-on-one if you unlock him, right? Post-game, mid-range, he has a little bit of it. He showed a little bit of last year. The three-point shooting that's right now at 40%, it could go up to 42, 43% if players aren't able to hug him at the line, right? And
yeah, if it opens up his game.
Correct.
Well, Robert, do you have another point to pone on Skip before we get out of here?
Yeah, I do. So in terms
Before
of
Skip defends himself.
Yeah, I got to defend myself a little bit.
It's not even to pone on him. It's more to kind of close the gap on why OG has not been given this sort of to respond to Andrew and sort of say, like, why hasn't Nick Nurse handed OG the reins to fail the way Pascal Siakam has? Right. So I would say a lot of this comes down to a comment made by Fred VanVleet about nuance. You know, just at the presser 2 days ago, he's talking about nuance and Pascal Siakam and the pecking order between him and Kyle and whose team was it, right? And so I think that one of the things you realize when you start to talk to NBA players is it's really difficult for a coach to go out and tell the team, this guy's going to take 20 shots a game, if the team themselves does not believe that guy deserves to take 20 shots a game. Okay.
Great point.
There are those guys, you know what I mean? Like Rudy Gay, for instance. Rudy Gay, when he came to the Raptors, right? Kyle and DeMar deferred to that guy. Even though he was freaking shooting 36% from the field, they said, Rudy, you're our guy. Now, is it right or wrong? Doesn't matter. It's a personality thing. Rudy Gay is an alpha scorer. Kawhi Leonard, alpha scorer. Every situation these guys walk into, unless the coach outright says no, they're going to take 25 shots a game. That's not OG's personality. So with OG, you have a mismatch between talent and personality. ability and personality. As his personality continues to grow, his teammates start to see him as a guy who could take 25 shots a game. Then he will take 25 shots a game and everyone will be like, oh, I can't believe he's gotten so much better. He hasn't gotten so much better. It's actually just the situation has allowed him to show what he can do.
It's like a video game, they unlock them. Right? So, Skip, do you want to defend yourself from
Yeah, I mean, just to go back to the mid-range thing, like, I'm not saying he shouldn't develop a mid-range shot at all. I don't think that's a bad idea. I'm just saying if he starts taking more mid-range shots, his overall efficiency numbers are going to go down. And that has to do with how people are guarding him. If he's taking more shots, if he's taking 10 more shots a game, those are 10 shots that are going to be more forced. Like if you have, just thinking about the shot distribution, right? Like, if you're taking the shots that are available, maybe you're taking 10 shots a game. If you're the go-to scorer, that means you're taking 20, 30 shots a game. You're forcing those shots when there's end of the shot clock, when no one else is taking that shot. And that's why efficiency generally goes down for like high usage scorers. Like Pascal Siakam, for example, his efficiency is not as good because he's forcing some of these shots because he's the guy who's taking them. So that's sort of what I was getting at with that stuff.
No, but you don't have to force the shot within the offense.
But Pascal's efficiency went down because he didn't deserve to take that many shots, and he's not talented enough to take that many shots. And frankly, he doesn't have the skill or the physical ability to take that many shots. But when you say 20 shots, right? Look, when I think about a defense stopping an offensive player, right? I think about what can you take away, right? That's it.
Yeah.
So if the guy can't post, right? I can guard you with a smaller player. And you can't hurt me, right? If you're like Pascal Siakam, right? How do you stop Pascal Siakam? You put a smaller, quicker guy on him and he's done. He's toast. He can't move past him because you mitigate the quickness advantage. So the league caught up to Pascal.
Yeah.
The little spinning move, the little whatever. And when they didn't have to put that defender that was typically assigned to Kawhi on Kawhi, and they could put that guy on Pascal, like Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, like not Jason Tatum, but Jaylen Brown, you know, that defender. If you could take that guy off of Kawhi and put him on Pascal, well, Pascal's not Kawhi, so the whole thing falls apart. It's a house of cards, right?
Yeah.
But that same guy, if you put Jaylen Brown on OG, it doesn't work. There aren't 5 players in the NBA that can stop OG on all 3 levels, because you can't stop him.
Not even close.
Because he's a better shooter than Siakam.
Yeah.
He's a better post player than Siakam.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He is technically,
but he is not as good a dribbler as Siakam.
Irrelevant, because the type of dribbling you're talking about is east-west. In terms of beating a guy off the dribble, quick.
You're going north-south.
Like look at DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan was an elite shot creator, right? Elite shot creator, free throw opportunities, all that stuff, right? A lot of it had to do with, like, was DeMar DeRozan's handle that great? No. He was just very effective at getting past one guy and then dribbling into contact. OG's very similar.
I don't think OG has all those moves yet, for one thing.
But you don't need, you know, if the first thing works, right? As like I play basketball, like what we teach is move, counter, counter. That's it, right?
Yep.
So if your move is dribble past the guy and no one can stop that, you don't need a counter unless you meet a second defender. Right?
You need.
I don't know a lot of guys who can, like, and with OG, right? You have to hug him at the 3-point line. So that the part that you're talking about, the elite handle he doesn't have, you need that if you don't have the shot. But he has such a shot that you have to guard him so close. He gets past you on that first step.
The shot helps. I'm not arguing that. My point is, if you're putting your best defender on him, his efficiency is going to go down. Same with. If you're doubling him, his efficiency is going to go down. That's just how these things go.
Again, who do you stop him with? Your best defender is Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant's not stopping OG Anunoby in the post.
He's too small.
He's going to body him.
Small.
He's too small.
Yeah.
There aren't that many guys who can guard him.
I don't think he can drive at the level that you think he can. I just don't.
I've seen him do it. I saw him do it all last year. Like it's a matter of opportunity.
He can do it. Like, I don't think he can do it consistently as the go-to guy. That's all I'm saying.
But
I don't think Siakam's a good driver either.
Exactly. We said the same thing.
Guys.
Siakam definitely can't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
But why
guys,
not give OG a shot?
Yeah.
Let's save the rest of this for the group chat since our time is running out right now. Skip, You got vilified again by these guys, bro. Damn,
Hey,
man.
I want OG to be great. I hope he's a star. I'm just saying, let's not put the cart out of the horse here.
I feel like in the first play of the game, the first play, first season, I think he's gonna like hot sauce dribble, bounce it off this guy's head, dribble it through his legs, do like some sort of and one crossover, and then go dunk over a guy's head like Vince, and then he's gonna be like, Skip, take that.
And then let's see him do it
Hopefully,
some more time.
hopefully he watches it.
Yeah.
Let's
I hope he
tweet him.
watches. I hope he watches. Dude, he's got some sauce to it. Don't get it twisted. Just because the guy's not showing you, like he made this comment. He said, "I work on a lot of stuff that I don't get to show in the game." Right? So there's got to be some parts of it, and I've seen him doing private workouts and stuff. He's doing some crazy
It's about
stuff.
opportunity, man. I keep saying it.
It
It's
is.
about opportunity.
And he's gonna have that opportunity for the first month. And you
Thank
know,
God for that.
Andrew was saying it. I'm saying it too. I've never been more excited for the first month of a season ever. Not even the Kawhi season. I'm more excited about this.
You guys got that Scotty Barnes. You guys got that OG. Now you're seeing Freddie Van
Precious.
Vliet take over Kyle Lowry's role. Now you got Precious in there. We've seen. We know what Kevin Burch could do. We know what Trent could do.
Don't say that.
Well, we see that. But on
Why'd you have to bring
Robert-
Trent into this? I'm like, you were just gonna go right past
Okay.
Trent, and then you had to bring that.
dude, we'll get into that another time.
Thank you guys so very much for your insight today. It's been a pleasure. This has been nothing but a lot of fun. Robert, if you guys want to find him, you guys know out there, you guys know, go Google him. In his words, Mouth of the North, Andrew Reece. Sorry, guys, we brought him back on. You can complain all you want about what he has to say. That doesn't matter. Keep blowing up the comments. The more you don't like him, the more we're going to bring him back on. We're just going to have a little fun with that one. Skip, you guys know where to find him. At Dougie J's on Twitter, SimonBroder.com, Amazon.ca. Go buy the book. You guys know where to find us right there. Go click subscribe. Let us know what you think. You guys can find us on Facebook and Instagram, To The Point, on Twitter, To The Point Raps. On behalf of myself, Andrew Reece, the Mouth of the North, Mr. Robert Misovic, and Simon Broder, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and
Peace.